What is up, Idle Ninjas? It's Aaron here. And before we start today's video, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. We finally reached over 500 subscribers, so let's go ahead and get to 1000. In today's video, we're going to be looking at ONI gem levels, what is the best, and basically what order is it to optimize to get the maximum gain in power and progression. So we're going to be looking at the magic attack versus critical damage in ONI gems. So we're going to bring out Senpai, who's going to help us with the mathematical equations and figure out what we should do. So let's go ahead and get started, Senpai.
Alright, it's Senpai here, and basically first we gotta look at how much gains do we get between crit damage and magic attack or attack. So first we have to calculate how much flat damage we actually gain versus the critical damage. So basically there are 10,000 levels in ONI gems, and in advanced attack or magic attack we gain 150 flat per level. So let's go ahead and calculate that real quick. Next, let's calculate the critical damage. We gain 1 critical damage per level in ONI gems. So let's go ahead and calculate that. So basically in a nutshell, we gain 1.5 million flat magic attack or attack at level 10,000 of ONI gems and 10,000 critical damage at level 10,000 of ONI gems. Now, in order to calculate the damage, we have to do flat times percent times Zen. Once we calculate that, then we calculate into our critical damage, followed by any overcrit that we may have. So for our examples, our flat base will be 4.1 million. Our magic attack percent will be 174,113, and our Zen will be 1,452.80. Our critical damage will be 19,715.60, and our overcrit will be 37.35. So as you can see in the chart below, we calculated all the flat that we will gain from level 1 to 10,000 in ONI gems, and we've added it to our flat magic attack. And then we also calculated the total damage based off of those numbers with the crit damage and overcrit. So at level 10,000 of advanced magic attack, we will roughly have 22.341 trillion damage. And this damage is not calculated any of the shuriken ultimate effects. This is just basic flat damage that we would get. Now at level 10,000 of critical damage, we will have 24.666 trillion damage. So it is roughly 2.3 trillion more damage output than leveling up advanced magic attack or attack, which this seems on paper better, right? But is it? Let's go ahead and look at our graph that we have created, and we can see flat versus critical damage. Critical damage is indicated by the orange line, and flat is indicated by the blue line, and they are pretty much close together. But if we actually calculate this based on cost versus power gained, the results are very different. So in order to unlock critical damage, you first have to max out ONI HP, magic attack, and attack. Once you max out those three, then you unlock your ONI critical damage. And this is where you can gain your extra critical damage or more damage of getting that extra 2.3 trillion damage. So if we look at our next chart, we can see that the basic ONI is pretty linear and the advanced ONI is pretty linear as well. But when we compare it to the critical damage, it exponentially increases in cost. At first, we can see that critical damage is a lot cheaper than advanced ONI, but as the levels of critical damage scales, so does the cost at an exponential rate. When we're looking at advanced ONI, we can see that it stays pretty stable throughout the levels, and it is pretty much cheaper to max out than critical damage. And we can see that, and as we mentioned before, that in order to unlock critical damage, you have to max out ONI attack or magic attack, and that adds into the cost of the critical damage overall power cost. Now for unlocking advanced magic attack or attack, the only thing you have to max out is ONI HP and attack or magic attack, not both. So this decreases the cost of overall cost versus power. So in the long run, actually, maxing out your advanced ONI first will give you the biggest power boost in the shortest amount of time because of the cost versus power, as we can see in the graph below. I've calculated these, I have gathered their information and data, and of course this may change as things change in the game, or we are able to get more ONI gems in a shorter amount of time. But currently right now, it is better to max out advanced ONI versus maxing out critical damage first, just because of the cost comparison of the two. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. Go ahead and like and subscribe the video if you want to see more content. Until the next video, Senpai out.